I'm going to ask you to think of a moment today when things went wrong. And it can be as simple or as small as you knocked over your coffee. Because even these little moments are a ripe breeding ground for self criticism. And I know that happened for me. That self critic flares up and says, "You're an idiot, you're a moron. How could you be so clumsy? You're going to be late. Why didn't you just not spill it in the first place?" But I know for a fact that if it was a good friend who I cared about, who I loved, who I wanted to see do well in life, who was in that situation instead of me, I'd never say those things. Instead, I'd be kind, I'd be supportive. I might tell a lame joke to lighten the mood, or I'd try to keep it in perspective for my friend. Or at the very least, I'd say, look, even if you have made a really terrible mistake, I still think you're a wonderful person. So self compassion is all about harnessing this compassionate wisdom that we almost intuitively have for our friends and people who we care about, and just redirecting some of that compassionate wisdom inward to ourselves. And I want to tell you three exciting things about self compassion. So, firstly, we're all capable of it. This isn't rocket science. It isn't something that's really complex and difficult to master because we already do it. We already know the kind, supportive things to say or how to love the people who we care about. Self compassion is just about changing the direction and directing some of it inward. Secondly, the research tells us that self compassion is both a trait and an ability, and this is really exciting. So, firstly, it's a trait because we know that naturally some people tend to be a little bit more self compassionate than others. We might just be born that way or have that particular upbringing. But in addition, self compassion is also an ability, it's a muscle, it's something that we can practice and we can master and we can improve at. And there's meta analyses on self compassion interventions that support this idea. So even if you're not naturally a self compassionate person, it doesn't mean you can't be. And thirdly is a caveat. Self compassion is not soft. Self compassion will not make you a weak person. In fact, genuine self compassion is the complete opposite. It's about leaning into and acknowledging and being aware of the parts of ourselves that we might be less comfortable with or that we might find unpleasant, and being able to lean in and be present with that.